fellowship model of ministry started in Conway when a group of traditional church members read a book by Frank Telepaw called Unleashing the Church. That book described a ministry model that was different than anything that had been presented or heard of before in church circles. That led to a search of churches in the central Arkansas area and ultimately led us to Fellowship Bible Church in Little Rock, which was following a model very similar to what was described in the book. We asked them to help us then to begin a ministry of that type in Conway, and they said yes.
In the beginning of the church, the excitement was around the tight-knitness of the group. It was almost like the church in the first century in that we prayed together, we broke bread together, we took communion, we studied God's Word. And at one of our first home churches, and I have dated in my Bible, that was of November 22nd of 1986, as we have a founding verse, which was 1 Peter 2, 4, and 5. And coming to him as a living stone, rejected by men, but choice and precious in the sight of God. You also, as living stones, are being built up as a spiritual house for a holy priesthood to offer up spiritual sacrifice acceptable to God through Jesus Christ. The group was first established 3 home church groups, and then from that we needed to find childcare as those families multiplied and grew, and that took us to Garrick Anderson's warehouse. And at that time, we established Saturday Night Alive. And so the Conway Church met on Saturday night. Due to the childcare, all were meeting, adults and children, in Garrick's warehouse. But then, as we moved to Sunday morning, we had to find different facilities.
Next place we moved to that the Lord provided was on Morningside. There was a small church there that was not meeting anymore. It was a small sanctuary and met that need, but it did not meet the need for the child care that we had. So we had a vehicular transport ministry that was taking the kids from Morningside over to Kittyville every Sunday, and we did that for a long time.
Kittyville was a challenge, though, because it was off campus and not all parents were comfortable with that. So at the end of Hank's Fine Furniture, there was a warehouse portion that was empty. We were able to bring the children back all under roof so that the adults could attend one service, and then serve in the Learning Center, which was in the rooms that had been blocked off for the various ages. The youth were meeting off-site at Stovey's, so we still had one group off-site, but the younger children through junior high were still close to parents. When Hanks decided they needed the warehouse space back and they didn't give us much time, then we searched out several options, and once again the Lord provided abundantly above what we had asked.
The Presbyterian Church was provided for us within a week of our having to vacate Hanks. So we consider that as a miracle that the Lord provided a space for us when we had no place to go, and we had a lot of children, and the ministry had grown at that time. We needed to look for property and start finding a place to build our own place of worship and where we could meet on Sunday morning versus paying rent and always looking for a different place. And that's what led us to the Hogan farm here that we ended up purchasing almost 10 acres here.
So in each location we were, the driving force behind moving was growth, accommodating children, as we still are a very prolific church, and we see that the children, youth, are outgrowing the spaces that they are in even today. So So you feel a sense of what we felt over the last 30 years of God saying, now we need to provide once again for the needs of the children.